In today's video, we're going to be covering 3 champions for every single role that hold some of the greatest carry power to start off Season 14. If your main goal in mind is climbing the ranked ladder the fastest, any of these champions will suit you extremely well. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Top lane is going to be more isolated in Season 14, with ganking top becoming much harder for junglers due to the map changes. This in turn bodes extremely well for top lane champions who excel in the 1v1, and someone who fits that criteria to a T, kicking off our solo carry top 3 is Quinn. Not only will Quinn thrive due to top lane being harder to gank, but the changes to lethality items will benefit her immensely. Lethality is now flat instead of scaling, which means you get more strength out of lethality earlier in the game. Ghost Blade and the Collector are not being changed all that much for Season 14, so they should remain great staple pickups for Quinn. The rune setup for Quinn consists of Fleet Footwork with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cut Down, followed by Absolute Focus and Scorch for secondaries. A fighter top lane champion who really shot into meta during the end of Season 13, and who should be great to start off Season 14 as well, is Trundle. Trundle has such a potent skirmish early on and can outduel the majority of melee top lane champions. If junglers are spending less time up in the top lane, it's going to suit you extremely well to lock in Trundle, as your ability to find early kills and then snowball that into incredible side lane pressure for the mid game will have you demolishing games. Despite all the item alterations for Season 14, Trundle's core build should not change all that much. Trinity Force is still a rushable item for Trundle, while Ravenous Hydra and Hullbreaker will continue to enable the split push threat of the champion. Experimental Hexplate is one of the new items that could slot in on Trundle, but it's tough to say exactly where he'd slot it in, because his current core build is just so strong. The rune page for Trundle consists of Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, roll with Demolish and Bone Plating for secondaries. So both champions we've recommended so far are more 1v1 dominant picks, but if you're looking to carry through teamfight presence, Ornn is a phenomenal option. Top lane tank should have a really nice place in the meta to start Season 14 due to all the mage items being reworked and new tank items being introduced. Everyone's going to want to be playing champions that can run the new mage items, so it's very likely you run into double AP or even triple AP comps quite regularly. In this case, picking someone like Ornn who can abuse the new magic resist item called Kaenic Rookern will be super high value. Rookern provides the most amount of magic resist for any MR item at 80, and it also gives a magic shield that scales off max health. This becomes disgusting on Ornn the later games drag out because of his item upgrades and being able to acquire more health than most tanks. A core build of Kaenic Rookern into Hollow Radiance is something we expect to be really strong on Ornn to counter heavy AP comps. Hollow Radiance is basically the magic resist version of Sunfire Aegis, which will be really nice to add more versatility to tanks. In the past, Ornn pretty much always wanted to buy Sunfire Aegis due to the wave clear strength it provided, but if he was against heavier AP comps, the armor was just wasted. Now you won't have to waste stats as much, which will give Ornn more value. If you're up against a more AD heavy comp, then running a standard Season 13 build of Sunfire Aegis, Jock Show, and Thornmail will do the trick. Rune page for Ornn is Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Overgrowth. Run Free Boots and Biscuits for secondaries. The jungle meta may see the biggest shift of any role to start Season 14 due to the map changes, and one jungler who will feel the benefit a ton is Fiddlesticks. Fiddle, being a jungler who does not rely on snowballing pre-6 to be effective, won't mind the fact that top lane and mid lane are now more difficult to gank. Fiddle is completely fine with farming to that level 6 spike, and once he has his ultimate, he'll actually be able to gank top and mid better than most junglers. With Fiddle R, he'll be able to hop over the new thick wall in top lane, which will open up more opportunities for him relative to other junglers. The new walls in the river will also be really nuts for those dragon and baron fights. Compared to the old wall, the new one gives Fiddle better angles to approach from, and he can easily ult over the wall and then flash into baron or dragon pit to wipe an enemy team. We're also quite high on Fiddle due to one of the new mage item additions called Malignant. This one provides ability haste for your ultimate and also deals bonus damage when your ult is running. Fiddle can get multiple procs of this bonus damage off while his ult is running, which will add a crazy amount of added DPS in a team fight. It's tough to say the exact order in which Fiddle's build will unfold, but Malignant, Rocket Belt, and Zanya's as core items are what we expect to transpire. As for the rune page, it's First Strike with Hex Flash, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. We expect lethality junglers to be popping off to start Season 14, and one you should consider prioritizing is Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is going to have incredible synergy with the new lethality item Voltaic Cyclo Sword. On top of this, Tiamat now builds into the new lethality item called Profane Hydra, so the Tiamat Rush is back on the table for Ka to help with his early clear. Our challenger expert Hexadecimal played a bunch of Kha'Zix games on the PvE with the new items and was loving the Tiamat Rush and then building into Profane Hydra. After that, it gets a bit tricky, as both new lethality items called Opportunity Opportunity and Voltaic Cyclo Sword felt great as well. Items aside, the big reason to why AD Assassins are going to become even stronger for Season 14 is because lethality is now flat instead of scaling. This means lethality is more powerful throughout the early game, but weaker later on, which should be net positive on Assassins, as they're champs you need to snowball on to be most effective. The rune page to run on Kha'Zix revolves around First Strike with Free Boots, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Grab Sudden Impact and Eyeball Collection for secondaries. Now that ganking is just flat out nerfed as a result of the terrain adjustments, a hard farm to 6 jungler like Evelynn will be feasting really well. Playing Evelynn will allow you to be very consistent to start Season 14, as players who try to force ganks top and mid will likely more often than not come out behind, while you can just cycle your camps on respawn, hit 6 before the enemy jungler, and then begin taking over. As if one-shot power wasn't already absolutely disgusting with Eve, new item addition in Storm Surge and the new rework to Shadow Flame will make her burst even more insane. Rocket Belt should remain the optimal rush item for Evelynn just to provide that bit of added durability, but then going to Storm Surge, Shadow Flame, and Rabadons will be a nasty, maxed out build. The rune page for Evelynn consists of Electrocute with a Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter. Best secondaries are Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. Although the big craze around mid lane to start Season 14 will be centered around mages, AD Assassins and more specifically Talon should not be slept on. Most champions will hate the fact there are more walls being added to the game, but Talon is a rare exception, as he'll still have exceptional roaming capabilities. Roaming towards top lane will probably not be worth it for many other assassins, but since Talon can traverse over walls, he'll have a huge edge up. All of this, combined with the fact that lethality is now becoming more powerful earlier on in the game, means we expect Talon to have even more snowball power than before. Having access to a lethality item that builds out of Tiamat will feel incredible as well, with Profane Hydra likely being a core pickup on Talon to amplify his shove and roam strength. For the ultimate shove and roam 2 item core, Profane Hydra with Ghostblade is one you should be looking to try. One other factor that actually indirectly buffs assassin mids like Talon is the fact that there's now less health on mage items. The health on Shadow Flame and Horizon Focus are both gone, while Everfrost, Night Harvester, and Crown of the Shattered Queen have been removed from the game. Other than Zanya's, there's just very little defensive items for mages, so Talon's going to be loving that. Rune page for Talon consists of First Strike with Free Boots, Dematerializer, and Cosmic Insight. Grab Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter for secondaries. The ultimate counter to AP mid lane champions to start Season 14 is going to be Galio. Now, this isn't the AP Galio that we've been used to throughout Season 13 though. Tank Galio is going to be making a comeback. Rushing Kaenic Rookern and completely nullifying AP mids is going to be absolutely ridiculous for Galio. The item provides a mass amount of magic resist along with the magic shield. This magic shield refreshes every 12 seconds, so what you'll be able to do is just walk up to the wave, tank the enemy's combo, clear the wave out, and then dip into the Fog of War looking for a roam opportunity while your shield refreshes. Keep in mind, Galio's W passive also provides him with a magic shield, so you're getting double shielding by building Kaenic Rookern, which will just make it impossible for AP champs to deal with you. A 2-item core of Kaenic Rookern into Abyssal Mask will work really well to hard counter those AP comps. Rune page is Aftershock with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Overgrowth, followed by Nimbus Cloak and Transcendence for secondaries. Mid lane, now becoming more difficult to gank and items offering more offensive power, has us rating Xerath very highly to start Season 14. These longer range mages like Xerath, who can really sit back at a safe distance and hug one side of the lane, are going to be nearly impossible to gank with the new terrain changes. As a longer ranged mage, Xerath also doesn't mind the fact that health is being removed on many mage items in exchange for added damage. If you're getting dove on with Xerath, you're probably just dead anyways, so having some added damage to help with poking will feel great for the mid game. The new passive on Shadow Flame, which gives your abilities crit when the enemies drop below 35% health, will also have amazing synergy with Xerath's ultimate, as it will make finishing off those low health targets even easier. A simple core build that you should be looking to try on Xerath consists of a Luden's Rush into Horizon Focus 2nd and Shadow Flame 3rd. Rune page will be First Strike with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Mana Flow and Scorch for secondaries. Making our way down to the bot lane, our first solo carry selection for ADC is going to be Samira. Samira is one ADC who is just flat out buffed to start Season 14 for a multitude of reasons. Samira has loved rushing the Collector throughout Season 13, and because lethality is now flat instead of scaling, you're getting even more early game power out of the Collector. Samira, being a champion who thrives throughout the early to mid game, is going to love this. If our theory is correct in the sense that bot lane will be prioritized even more by junglers, playing a strong skirmishing ADC like Samira will really allow you to thrive in those hectic 3v3s. The core build that you should be running on Samira consists of the Collector Rush into Infinity Edge 2nd and Immortal Shield Bow 3rd. Conqueror is the best keystone rune with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand. Grab Eyeball Collection and Treasure Hunter for secondaries. Another ADC who will benefit greatly from the lethality item changes is Misfortune. Misfortune is one of the few ADCs who was already building full lethality in Season 13, so she's straight up buffed for Season 14. Ghostblade into the Collector will provide an even more ridiculous damage spike and allow for Misfortune's ultimate to absolutely shred. Now, Cyril Serilda's Grudge is being changed for Season 14 so that the slow only procs if the enemy is below 50% health, so the synergy between the item and Misfortune's ultimate won't be as powerful. This may lead to something like Axiomark becoming a more staple third item on Misfortune, as it's always been viable but just never run as much compared to Serilda's Grudge. For Misfortune's rune page, you'll want to run First Strike with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, pick up Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm for secondaries. The third solo carry ADC that we have rated very highly for the start of Season 14 is Neela. Just like Samira, Neela can rush the Collector, so she's going to benefit immensely from the fact that lethality is now a more powerful stat early on in the game. Spiking off the Collector and looking for all-in plays at level 6 is going to be extremely effective on Neela. Neela is also one of those ADCs who loves skirmishing, as her ultimate and damage reduction from W are very powerful. Pair Neela up with any melee engaged support and your ability to take over in the 2v2 and even outplay 2v3s at level 6 is incredible. The core build you should be running consists of the Collector, Rush into Quick Blade 2nd, and Shield Bow 3rd. Take Conqueror for the Keystone Rune, with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand. Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter are the way to go for secondaries. There's a brand new support item being added for Season 14 called Trailblazer, and it's going to work perfectly for Maokai support. Maokai support has always been a very strong but more underplayed pick for solo queue. However, he should gain a lot more attention in 14.1. Trailblazer is the support version of Deadman's Plate, as it gives you health, movement speed, and armor, while providing a more supportive passive that gives your teammates movement speed as well. Mao has loved rushing Deadman's Plate in the past, so he's going to become even stronger now that he has access to a cheaper version in Trailblazer. With bot lane being the easiest lane for junglers to gank now, picking Maokai will be such high value so you can capitalize on those early ganks. Flash W combo from Maokai is the best gank assist tool in the entire game, and it makes securing early kills completely foolproof. Of course, your starting support item will now eventually give you an upgrade that you need to choose from, and for Maokai, we can see him choosing between 2 out of the 5. Celestial Opposition and Solstice Slay will be the best options on Maokai support. It will all depend on what you value more. Celestial provides more defensive power, while Solstice is more offensive, so depending on how the game is going, you can pivot between the two. With Radiant Virtue and Even Shroud now removed from the game entirely, a standard core build that you can look to run on Maokai is a Trailblazer Rush into Locket 2nd. The rune page is Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching, followed by Biscuits and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. Our second solo carry support, who's going to benefit massively from the item changes, is Senna. The added damage that Senna will have due to the new support upgrade, combined with lethality now being flat instead of scaling, will make her early to mid game so much better than before. Senna will now have the ability to pop off much harder early on, while still having the built-in scaling power due to her soul stacking. It's obviously going to be Bloodsong as the support upgrade you'll want to run on Senna, as it provides you with the Spellblade passive. You also provide your team with bonus damage on the target you've attacked with the Spellblade proc, so the overall damage output in the 2v2 will be amazing. The 2-item core you'll want to be running is an Umbral Glaive Rush into Ghostblade 2nd. Rune Page is standard stuff, with Fleet Footwork, Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cutdown, followed by Bone Plating and Revitalize. As if Bard wasn't already one of the best roaming supports, he's going to be such a cut above all else for Season 14. Bard's E allowing him to traverse through walls will make his roam strength toward top lane way better than all other supports. With other engaged supports, if you end up losing lane and have to ditch your ADC, it's going to be way more difficult to make a heroic comeback off trying to roam. Bard won't have to worry about this though, and will have even more priority over other supports because of it. Trailblazer just seems like the perfect rush item for Bard as well, since he was someone who liked running Deadman's Plate in Season 13, so now he just has a cheaper, more supportive version of the item. Locket and Trailblazer as core items on Bard is what we expect to be standard to start off 14.1. As for Bard's starting item upgrade, it's likely Solstice Slay you'll want to prioritize for most games. All you need to do is slow an enemy to proc the Solstice Slay effect, so with Bard's passive auto attacks providing that slow, it will be very easy for him to get good use out of it. The rune page to run on Bard is Guardian with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching, followed by Zombie Ward and Relentless Hunter for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there you have it guys, a complete look at some of the best solo carries to kick off Season 14. Thanks so much for watching, good luck with your rank climbs, and we'll see you in the next one.